welcome to the stream. I'm Jo. And I'm apparently solo this evening.
No, I'm here. Sorry, you went into like Speedy Gonzalez mode. And I'm Jordan. I'm not sure which part I missed, but I'm Jordan. I'm most certainly him. The man with weird internet.
Where are we live, Jordan?
Thank you. I did say I wasn't sure where we got up. We are live on YouTube and Odyssey and Walden Radio and DLive and various other platforms of the social media variety that don't matter.
What is up with your internet?
I think what happened is I'm too quick for its own good. It's confused itself. It doesn't know what to do anymore.
That's probably, your machine's probably had an aneurysm because it's actually working on time now.
I'll be honest, you sounded like you was having some sort of aneurysm. You were just going... Have you been vaccinated, Jo?
No, I'm sure that's not true. Damn it, don't tell everyone, Jordan. No, I just want to reassure everyone right now. I'm feeling a bit poorly today, but I haven't taken the kill shot. Scout's honour. I'm not a scout, but Scout's honour, promise. Over my dead body,
never in anything
literally.
Like the Scouts or the Brownies or anything of that variety?
Well, I mean, those used to be wonderful institutions till they got all sort of gay and progressive. If we could go back to traditional values again, you know, like little things that boys are interested in and things that girls are interested in, and teaching them skills and self-sufficiency and, you know, responsibility and accountability and all those wonderful things that make good children into functioning, sensible, responsible adults. Wonderful. So yes,
being a baby adult, basically.
Well, I think that when we used to teach children responsibility from a much younger age, they became more productive adults as a result. And you just have to look at young adults today to see where we've gone wrong.
When you look at things like, I think it was Samuel Cole. I'm sure he was the one. He invented his pistol at the age of 16, and he had plans for it before then. That's a remarkable bit of engineering prowess shown by a 16-year-old, an apprentice. That was some serious doing.
And not to go to obvious extremes, but you know, when you think about composers back in the day, I mean, these people were composing at very, very young ages. I know, as I said, that's an extreme example, but the reality is children are told, don't worry about the future. You don't have to decide now. Go to college, get indoctrinated, go to uni, get indoctrinated further, and then take your master's degree and go and get a job at Mackey's. I mean, there's just, you know, young people are not married anymore. They're not raising children anymore. They're not responsible for anything, and they just want to have fun, this instant gratification.
Do you know what I think would help this?
Go on. Is it segue time?
It's segue time. I think what would help this would be if we had a little bit more national pride about us. Specifically, if we had a One Britain, One Nation Day song and gimmick. It'd be marvellous. Everybody would know what to do. They would be functional adults as a sperm. They'd be amazing.
Functioning sperm. Brilliant. What, and before it meets the egg, it raises its arm in a salute. Wonderful.
Exactly. He's going to just marches in.
Wow. Let's see what Aisha Hazarika has to say about Britain. It's a nice English name there. Carry on.
She is an accredited iconist, though. So that's all that really matters.
Iconist.
How about ending the cult?
Sorry,
well, you know, the branding.
Is that a job?
It's like I Spartacus sort of thing, you know? but for a journalist.
Wow. Sorry. Anyway, carry on.
Is a journalist a columnist? I feel that they're not. I feel like this is the difference between a pundit and a commentator. They're not really the same thing.
No, a true journalist is an investigative reporter where they're given a story and they go and do research and stuff and they actually get to the bottom of things. Reporters actually used to act like detectives back in the day, where they would dig into the background of a story and they would actually look at what they've been told compared to what they've actually found, and they would actually write the truth of what they found instead of just giving their opinion. And in fact, journalism was, by its very nature, unbiased as a standard back in the day. It was literally reporting the news. I know that there's always been propaganda, but these opinion pieces are just drivel. Anyway, carry on.
There were some excellent comments all in a row here. The first one from Roy, fifth columnist. Wonderful. Then stepdad, me righty stuff. Which I'm a big fan of that one.
That's the level of journalism we see so often.
And then rules, which you already put up because you knew I was going to point at it.
Traditional Chorley name. Chorley name. I don't know why I said Chorley there. Arius. Yes, Will's one. It does sound like a virus. We've always said the media is the virus, and, thanks for confirming.
Hey, this is proof. Anyway, this woman, she goes on to say one of the highlights working for former Labour leader Ed Miliband. She then, at least she has the self-awareness to say, stay with me.
Can we stay with you in your homeland,
no,
Aisha?
But, fair enough. I'll grant her that. She's self-aware.
She knows, she knows that he's useless. Yeah, carry on.
She then goes on about how he delivered his speech without notes, but bags of passion. Obviously, she hasn't seen Joe. Audience and commentators loved it. Blah, 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 blah. It borrowed stuff from Benjamin Disraeli. Goes on about an inclusive one nation party, all the rest of that jazz. One nation is a cracking concept. It never ages. It appeals to pretty much every part of the political spectrum, apart from the Europhiles, who are quite a big fan of getting rid of this as a nation and turning it into a weird little state of Europe. Apart from those people, it appeals to everybody else.
It doesn't even appeal to us. Because
I was about to say,
because the English are not the same as the Scots, and the Scots are not the same as the Welsh. We are distinct ethnic groups, and we're each proud of our own homeland. Simple as that.
Yeah, I can't see this appealing terribly much to the Scottish and Welsh nationalist, and I can't see it appealing very much to most of the English.
Aria says, I've never delivered a speech with notes. If you have notes, you lack passion. It's how kind of you both to say that I deliver speeches instead of rants. How very professional and tactful of you. Anyway, carry on.
Well, I have to be professional and tactful. Otherwise, you'll go all weird Speedy Gonzales on me again.
I don't have that power, but yeah, go on.
Today is One Britain, One Nation Day. This was back on the 25th. This was fine. I'm very sorry that we missed it. Or did we cover this on Wednesday? I'm trying to remember.
We played the cringe video.
We did, didn't we? Did we cover this article before?
No.
No, thank God for that. I thought I was having some sort of weird moment. I was like, this sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not sure. We've all heard the song. It was absolutely horrific. It was the most thing I've ever heard. I've only recently... This is why I weren't around on Friday. It was because I had to have my back readjusted from the cringe.
It was bandages for all that desk palming, wasn't it?
Just look at this weird thing. This Obon. It sounds like a company. The Obon Corporation of Brighton.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like the Umbrella Corporation. Building zombies since 2000.
It's hard to feel a great sense of inclusion when this week politicians have been using the legitimate concept of white privilege to stir up division between disadvantaged children from different ethnic backgrounds. So if you blame the concept of white privilege, you're trying to stir up division between children of different ethnic backgrounds. Meanwhile, if you blame white privilege, you're trying to bring people together from different ethnic backgrounds.
But not white ones, though, right?
Obviously not.
And can I just say, before people start saying, "No, it's about white people do have privilege because they've never been discriminated against because of their skin color." You're in a white country. If we all went to Africa, guess what? We'd be discriminated against because of our skin color. If we went to South Africa, that discrimination would be the last thing we ever have.
Well,
Okay?
well,
And I'm
well,
sorry.
Joe.
And also, I'm just going to say this. Black Lives Matter has become a thing. When a few people posted, I don't know, White Lives Matter, it was called disgusting, racist, xenophobic, nasty, Nazi rubbish. So, yes, of course, we have all this privilege. We can't even say that our lives matter. So shut up, whoever's saying that. Carry on. Sorry.
Well, going on about going back to their country.
Sorry, I was just delivering another speech without notes. Do apologise.
At least if we went to their country, we'd get the right curry. And our wedding wouldn't be called off because we were served the wrong curry, and we wouldn't marry another woman as a result. This...
Do you know what? I haven't read this since I sent you the link, and I just read the byline. Oh my God!
It's amazing. When 27-year-old Ramaka III demands for a mutton curry weren't met, he stormed off and married a different woman later in the evening, because this is completely reasonable. This 100% reasonable reaction. The waiter gave me, lamb curry, not mutton curry. I'm not happy. I'm marrying a different woman. What the hell is with this person?
So, having not read the story, I have a few questions. Did the bride-to-be make the wrong curry, or did she just get the blame for someone else's cock-up? Because this is such an overreaction.
Can I also point out, this is just about the only time you're going to see two white people getting married. Ironic. Has nothing to do with the name involved.
I was just going to say, which one of them is Ramakant Patra? It was in India. Why is there a picture of a white couple? I think I'm going to lose my voice on tonight's show. So, it was the bride's family. The bride's family. Married another woman the same day? He just had a backup, did he?
When the dish wasn't prepared, a row broke out and escalated quickly. This is some serious escalation. This is insane levels of escalation. You gave me... I demanded olives with no pips, and I had olives with pips. I'm going to start World War III.
Roy says the bride's nan was very upset. Oh, God. See, right now, if I were Indian, I would be complaining that they've put this awful cafe white couple picture on my story. Ugh, look at it. It looks like dog turd. That's my personal opinion.
Tell us what you really think, Jack.
It does. And people think that's the national dish of Britain. Well, it probably is now, because, But no, it's not the national dish for British people.
Earlier this week, what the hell is going on with India? Earlier this week, a bride in somewhere in India refused to go through with the nuptials after her fiance was actually Mr. Magoo. What the hell? What's wrong with these people?
It's understood the wedding was arranged by the pair's parents, meaning they had limited knowledge of one another before the big day. Well, if he was wearing glasses, you must have seen them. Oh, there's another one. And earlier this month, the groom was so set on tying the knot that he didn't let his wife dying at the altar stop him from getting married. Don't die, dear. We have a wedding.
Later the day, he asked her parents if he could wed her younger sister instead.
And they agreed. This is the point. Different cultures. These people have children Their children are like economic units that they barter with. Just give your daughter to a strange man. She's never met him. She doesn't know him. It's all good. Daughter was probably like 7 or something because that's part of their culture.
How? There's so many questions in this article. How the hell is the most reasonable person in the article the original geezer who demanded a mutton curry and decided to marry somebody else?
I still want to know, genuinely, Nina Lloyd, you're a moron. Why are you using a picture of a white couple? Is that the only way you can get people to read your nonsense?
I'm absolutely fascinated by this. This is so weird. Anyway, moving on from culture, we're moving into more culture. Keep culture of wearing masks on the tube, says ministers. Ministers were today urging promote the culture of mask wearing on the tube because apparently our culture is illegitimate and what we need is more mutton throwing, younger sister marrying culture things.
Well, obviously, the current tyrannical government doesn't believe in fresh air or the benefits of it. I mean,
Liberal Democrat health spokeswoman, sorry. I'm used to seeing spokesperson here, not spokeswoman. This is rather unusual.
Hang on, isn't that sexist? You can't say spokesman anymore.
Obviously, she identifies as a woman. I don't know what her name is.
Munira.
Munira, whatever it is. Okay,
Munira.
This name.
That sounds like Munira disease, doesn't it? It's. Sorry, just does. Carry on.
Munira Wilson. Called for the campaign, stressing many people would be far more confident using public transport if passengers had face coverings. Maybe more people would be confident of using public transport if it wasn't unbelievably awful.
How does
Have you been on the train often, Joe?
No, I avoid it like the plague. Same with buses.
I avoid it. I'd
rather walk somewhere than get public transport.
Okay, it takes an absolute bloody age to get across London on the tube. To get on the Jubilee line to go from somewhere like Canary Wharf to Bond Street, for example, it takes about 45 minutes. It takes forever. You could drive it in half the time. How the tube is so goddamn slow is beyond me. I would use the tube more often, first off, if I was in London, but I would use public transport in general more often if it actually ran on time and you weren't crammed in like sardines. There's nothing to do with masks. Nobody likes public transport. It has absolutely nothing to do with masks whatsoever.
But you've still got a lot of people in a confined space where a mask is going to deprive you of much needed oxygen. Although I suppose it's going to stop you breathing in other people's carbon dioxide. You know what we should do? Plant trees on trains. They can eat all the carbon dioxide. They can blurt out all the oxygen, and it would be a much nicer, greener experience for everyone.
I approve of a green experience on the tube. Some other geezer, George whatever, outlined the plan yesterday for all legal requirements on COVID-19 restrictions, including the wearing of face masks, social distancing, and working from home, to be ditched on the 19th. How many times have they done this now?
Pleasure and pain, right? Give you hope, snatch it away. I mean, let's not forget that we've already covered the COVID Marshall contracts, which are going to last for another 2 years.
Indeed. What was that other you came across? Like 300 million quid.
Is that not on your list?
No.
No, why not?
I don't know. You didn't put it in the list. You didn't put it in the list that was to be made into a list.
No, you made the list. You don't get to blame me.
Yeah, but you didn't give me you didn't give me the link to put into the list to be made into a list.
So I'm going to have to read it out because I can't share this one, or rather I could, but I
no. What you're going to have to do is go find a new job. This isn't good enough. I need my links to go into a list.
So this is I did send you it. So Serco, everyone knows about Serco. They've failed at everything they've ever done, and they've been given numerous government contracts for immigration and various other things. and they are a massive failure. They're a waste of money. They have just won a £322 million contract to continue running COVID testing sites for another year. And obviously, the 19th of July is supposed to be the end of all the lockdowns. So you tell me. And just to let you know, by the way, they also had £350 million worth of test and trace contracts. So, yeah, utter waste of space.
No corruption going on there.
No, none whatsoever.
Talking of corruption, this was kind of an interesting article because it was something neither Joe or I had ever thought of before. Changing offensive street names costs residents hundreds.
And the rest.
Well, definitely, and the rest. But anyway, would you like to give your thought on this, Joe? Because you raised some good points.
Well, just the first and obvious point is don't come to someone else's country and demand they change it. Second point, and the point that is relevant to the story, is that when some foreigner demands that you change your street name, the effect it has for you and everyone else living on that street, whether you're a homeowner or a renter, is that you have to contact the land registry and you have to contact your bank and you have to change your address formally on your driver's license and your credit cards. And in some cases, you will be charged for doing this. Because I'm not sure about... I know that if you change your address because you've moved... oh, God, I can't remember now if DVLA charge you for that. No, I don't think they do if you've moved.
I don't think they do.
But if you haven't moved, maybe there's a charge. Who knows? So, basically, there's all these costs involved. And if you've got children and a doctor and a dentist, you've got to change all your details with them. You've got to do it with the school, the nursery. I mean, hopefully you're homeschooling, so that won't be an issue. But the point is, again, this is people making their childish demands, genuinely like children. I want this, and I'm going to get it, and it's okay. But the other people who have to pay the actual cost for it, once again, are us. Just footing the bill for someone else's childish demands, petulant demands.
Blackamoor Lane. How the hell is there any racial offence going on there? Why did I say offence? I meant offence. My brain, sorry. Apparently they were looking into this and they decided that they would have to compensate residents, which basically local taxpayers will be paying residents because the local government has decided they don't like the name Blackamoor and various other things like Black Boy Lane and Cecil Rhodes House and various other things.
So hang on a second. Planners reviewing the street name. Oh, sorry, you jumped off it. Just go back down. Planners reviewing the street name for offensive connotations warn that the local authority, funded by the taxpayer, yes, would likely have to compensate costs faced by residents. Or don't change it, and then there's no cost. So the taxpayer funds the local authority that forces them to change the name, which forces them to pay the costs, who then refund the costs, which the taxpayer is also paying for. What a scam! Johnny Redpillseed brings up very, very good points here. What about the Black Country, Blackpool, Blackburn?
Yeah, you got to change Black Country. That's the most offensive of all. Oh, the All Blacks, don't get me going on that one.
I'm calling it now for Black Pudding, Garlic Gorilla. That's plus it's disgusting.
Black pudding is yummy. Leave it alone.
No, I think it should be abolished. It's offensive.
Oh, God. Do you know what else is offensive and should be abolished?
Before you segue, Budik has a request for the chat. She just deleted her cat's kicking duck sticker. Anyone have it, please? Put them up if you have them. Thank you. Carry on.
You ruined my segue.
You have lots of segues. You can just get over this one.
You wrecked my segue. Absolutely bodied it.
Do it again. What else is offensive?
I can't remember what it was. The great British menu star Andy Oliver says scarred rather, by Indy Blyton books, as authors' racist writings criticised.
I think both are correct. Sorry, this
Now,
star, who is this person?
Andy Oliver. I have a feeling
Never heard of him.
maybe the lady on the right.
I've never heard of him. And the lady on the right is Enid Blyton.
Indeed.
And yes. So what's Andy got to say about Enid Blyton? How has Enid Blyton
Apparently, she
personally
spoke out
harmed her?
passionately about the impact the use of outdated language in the late Enid Blyton books had on her as a child. She tweeted, "I'm just popping because
Enid Blyton,
What?
that's why.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, I don't understand this weird language, but okay.
What does
This Enid
popping mean?
raging, I'm guessing. Okay, this Enid Blyton stuff, why is it so hard for some people to understand that as a child sitting in a classroom, while your fellow students barely bother to stifle their giggles and point at you with every mention, gollywog, I don't know why I said that weirdly, gollywog or nur is a humiliating, painful experience that made me scared of playtime because the words we were reading inspired the bullies, and it did, yes, shape what? And it did, yes, shape how I felt about myself. Well, first of all, if the words of idiot bullies can make you doubt your own self-identity, then you're a moron. Second of all, this is just rubbish. What have you sat on this for 27 years?
No, this is more than 27 years, love.
Well, no, I don't know when this man went to school.
It's a woman.
Well, name's Andy, come on.
I liked the famous 5-2, but it doesn't mean the woman's writings didn't scar me. The chef went on to say, and I am allowed to talk about it.
Yes, you are. You're allowed to raise grievances. All the time. Never ending, in fact. And I'm allowed to talk about it. It doesn't mean I'm trying to spoil your vision or upset your apple cart. But it does mean that you just might have to understand it didn't feel that way for everyone, and some of those apples made us sick to our stomach. Sorry, no, I'm not. Oh my God, just go and rant somewhere else. No one cares.
No. Made us sick all our stomach. Thank you.
Oh, my bad. I corrected you, Andy. You probably should have spent more time in school. Oh, wait. Maybe not.
She would have read a lot more. Her English skills would have been much better if it wasn't for this horrible wickeder who wrote the word gollywog.
King Edward says Andy could eat an apple through a tennis racket. Ooh, harsh. But not untrue. Go on.
Sly little digs that feel punch in the guy, right? Yeah, wow. The same.
I'm sorry, which so-called journalist wrote this?
No, that's a direct quote from her.
Oh, God.
I know.
Yeah, stick to cooking.
Please do. You definitely do not get a job writing for the... What the heck? Why is this man wearing a weird overcoat?
That's awful.
Just get one that fits. I don't know. Do something, lad.
She is not an author. She is a chef, and she got famous by being on a TV show. So famous, in fact, that no one had ever heard of her. So there you go.
So we're moving on from this, and we're moving into slightly darker territory. But we will be moving into slightly territory later on, so it all is okay. Apparently, 11 months is all you need for committing quite a serious crime in this country. Night porter who sneaked into guest hotel room and sexually assaulted her in her bed only gets 11 months.
But the interesting thing about this story is he gets 10 years on the sex register.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll definitely do it. 10 years on the sex register, 11 months in prison.
Or
perfectly reasonable.
Or no months in prison, deport. See, you said this is a crime in this country. That's a really good point, because in some countries, That's not a crime, or at least it's not a crime that results in any justice for the victim.
The thing is, he was trying to self-deport and we stopped him.
Well,
Where
that's
does
the
it mention
interesting
that,
part.
love?
Well, not quite self-deport, but he was trying to flee to Pakistan and he was picked up.
Good. That's basically self-deportation. It's perfect. Can lad, Godspeed. To see you well.
And they basically said if you got on that plane to Pakistan, you wouldn't have been in the country at the time the case was listed. So what? He would have been out of the country.
It sounds perfect. I can't imagine a crime. Well, maybe not a crime, but like a better resolution. It's perfect.
Do they think his victim feels better that he's going to stay in this country and be released in what's he going to serve? Half that time? 6 months?
Indeed.
So he's probably going to serve 6 and be out again. Or would she feel better if they just deported him? And well, I don't know. I don't know if deportation doesn't quite have the same ring anymore, does it? Because it doesn't mean anything. Because you could deport these people anywhere and they'd be back on a dinghy the next day. But even so, at least it would be a case of, see the way you're behaving? We don't want that. Bye-bye. You do not meet our standards. Be gone with you. The interesting thing here was this man had previous convictions, 19 of them, for 41 offences.
For 41 offences.
Just look at those numbers again. 19 convictions for 41 offences.
That's a bit weird.
So he's committed double the offences for which he was convicted. Including
battery,
robbery and driving matters. What does that mean?
Battery. Is battery a crime in this country?
Yeah.
Because that's just assault or grievous bodily harm. I've never heard of battery being a crime here. So that, to me, says that they've conducted abroad.
Well, it used to be called assault and battery. It's now called GBH, isn't it?
I thought it was different. No, I might be wrong, but even so. Apparently, he was deeply ashamed. Deeply ashamed and apologetic for what he had done.
Sure.
Objectively, you're not, because you did it in the first place, and normal people don't need telling that sort of thing is bad. Thereby, I sincerely doubt you're able to feel shame or be apologetic in any way, shape, or form. He claimed he was going to Pakistan for a matter of days to sort out his late father's legal matters, and he regretted not informing the court. You make a lot of mistakes, lad.
Yeah, we regret that you didn't go to Pakistan and just stay there.
Very much so. I think his biggest mistake, he's a bad Muslim. His biggest mistake was he went home from the hotel after his manager spotted him in a bar and believed he was drunk.
So he's had this job for a week. He's drinking on the job. He sexually assaulted or attempted to one of the customers, residents, and he also tried to skip out of the country, and we stopped him. The reason I get so annoyed with stories like this is simply this. Every single crime committed by a foreigner in this country was preventable. Every single one. And it's not just the fact that they've come to this country and committed crimes. It's the fact that we have let them in and provided things for them that they could only dream of in their home countries, and they don't appreciate anything.
Like running water.
Fire, in some cases. Round tyres.
No, they don't appreciate much of anything.
So yeah, that's the reason I get so irate about this. The ingratitude just really sets me off. Anyway, moving on.
So moving on, we're going from a bad Muslim to a bald Muslim. Sajid Javid says no chance of another lockdown as COVID deaths up 65% of a week. In a week, rather. Look at that shining dome piece.
Famous last words. And just to clarify, we're not just picking on Muslims here. Old Savage there actually did get sworn in on a Quran. This is not fantasy and it's not fiction.
He did indeed. I think he needs a new name.
Savage.
I think no, not Savage. That's rude.
Well, no, it's every time I try and say his name, it comes out as Savage. It's a weird name. It's difficult to pronounce.
it must be said, it's a very uncomfortable name to say. I don't approve. Anyway, I think his new name should be Dome Piece because he's in half shining. Have you ever seen a picture of him when he's outside?
No, because you
The
can't
lad
see
needs
it
to put an
because
hat
there's
on.
too much glare.
Yeah, the lad needs to put an hat on. He'd blind you.
There you go, Will's got it. Savvy Jerry. Oh, Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty.
I like Savvy Jaffy. That's great. I must admit, I don't even know what this article is about. The only thing I know is we were talking about the previous guy, that Porter, and then I saw Savvy Javid pop up. So, Savvy Javi, I saw Savvy, and I just had the
See?
wonderful phrase. I had the wonderful phrase, bad Muslim to a bald Muslim. I thought, heck yeah, we're going with that. And this was the article that I saw. I don't know what it's about, so we're going to find out together.
Oh, Roy Bob's going there. Hang on, sorry. Roy Bob's going there. Has anyone seen Red Dwarf?
Yes, what a great show.
I have to ask the most important question. Has everyone seen the episode where they try and teach Crichton to lie? The best episode ever. Sorry, I just had to mention that. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
I do enjoy Red Dwarf a great deal.
Shmee. Okay, I'm done.
Javi said the UK will not be placed into another lockdown despite rising deaths. The new health secretary told the Commons on Monday that COVID restrictions must come to an end and should be reversible. There is but one issue, my lad. And this here, it betrays your naivety. Okay. What the government has done in the first place is both illegal and immoral. So it being irreversible is completely irrelevant because what they've already done was irreversible.
The damage they've caused. The damage they've caused is irreversible.
Most importantly, it's very easy to look at this from our perspective and think the damage they've caused to the country, the lives they've ruined, all of that. There is the other aspect, the damage they've caused to themselves. There is now hardly anybody in this country that actually trusts the government. And now it's completely open. Everybody's on the same page. There's very, very, very few people out there who actually trust them.
This is why the lockdowns can't end, because there's no way they can give people back the freedom they had before, which wasn't even real freedom. But this is going to be pitchforks outside number 10, and they know this. People are fuming, and they're justifiably angry.
Look at that shine.
And
He's like Mr. Pledge.
They need to keep us under the jackboot now. They know that this is going to end badly. And I'm not advocating for people to be violent, but I know that some people are going to be very, very angry at the things that they've lost. And I'm not talking about things. I'm talking about people, children, parents, grandparents. What this government has engaged in is state-sanctioned manslaughter, preventable death. Absolutely preventable, and they know it. They'll never apologise or be held accountable for it. They'll never take responsibility for it.
What he goes on to say is really interesting. It's also very carefully worded. We want every step to be irreversible, and make no mistake, the restrictions on our freedom, they must come to an end. We owe it to the British people who have sacrificed so much to us as quickly as we possibly can and not wait a moment longer than we need to. You can't restore freedoms.
No, they weren't yours to take in the first place.
Exactly. You can't restore freedom. That is not something you can do. What you can do, though, is stop your illegal and immoral behaviour and stop oppressing people. So realistically, what he's saying here is we owe it to the British people who have sacrificed so much to stop oppressing them as quickly as we possibly can and not wait a moment longer than we need to. When you worry, suddenly the mask completely comes off and you see what a load of nonsense this is. But you don't need, you have no need to oppress people, ever.
And they're acting like
you
saviours.
Doing that is your choice.
But
exactly.
You're saving us from you. Because you are the problem in the first place.
Just think of the arrogance, though, that we need to make it irreversible, because you've done something that is illegal and immoral and all the rest of that. And the best thing you can do to counteract that is make sure that no other government can ever do it again.
And also,
Apart from you in the future when you need to do it, which is basically how they're going to treat them.
And also, how much weight does the word irreversible carry now when they've set out to do what they wanted to do and they've achieved it?
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
It's just empty words.
Really, you can't trust these people. Not much. But you know who you can trust, Joe?
Who can we trust, Jordan?
The man who is no longer there. The poor man who is sold up the river like nobody's business. Matt. Matt, handyman.
Oh, he's very handy, isn't he?
He
Or is
very
that
much.
handsy?
He got a little bit too handy, I think. But anyway, as people may or may not know, I actually have no idea what happened because I was away. Absolutely a segue. The two, mate. The video will be investigated because the video is apparently the problem. Because why does a minister have a security camera in his office?
Oh, well, it's not a security camera. The camera was hidden inside a smoke alarm. And the smoke alarm was pointed at a balcony, but somebody snuck in and turned it round to face the other way, almost as if they knew that Hansy would be there with his mistress. And if you think about it this way, we've always said that the government never wastes a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So here are my thoughts on this. I think something big was about to hit the press, some big scandal that they didn't want us to know about. It's been buried by this. This person, this utter vile member of parliament, has lost nothing. He'll be shuffled to another job, or he'll make money doing something else. He planned to leave his wife anyway, so no big surprise there. He's lost nothing. Well, that's a good point from my stepdad. Could be old footage held back for a rainy day. We know that these people don't get into positions of power unless somebody is controlling them.
Exactly. That's a bloody good point.
Maybe that was the blackmail for in this particular case. Maybe that was what was being held over him. Maybe it was time. Maybe instead of him stepping down because he's a useless cretin who laughed at William Shakespeare when he was pretending to cry on GMTV, maybe they did this to evade or to distract us from another scandal, a bigger scandal, or to have people start to talk about his private life instead of the absolute cock-up the government has made of everything.
At least we know he's going to be able to come into employment easily. Because mistress's brother has a top job at a company with NHS contracts.
I'm so glad
he's going to come into employment.
Wages.
Exactly, he's going to come into employment just fine. We don't need to worry about good old Matt. He'll land on his feet, along with his pension and all the rest of that stuff. He'd be just fine.
Yeah. Well, he can get a job at, what is it? Partnering Health Limited.
That fills you with confidence. The company also runs NHS doctor surgery in Portsmouth, delivers urgent and primary care for NHS patients across Hampshire, as well as providing COVID-19 service.
You know what? Is it just me, or does it seem like the NHS has become the most dirty, corrupt organisation in the history of Britain? Every time there's a hint of a scandal, the NHS are involved, or it's an NHS contract or a subcontractor.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
If anyone is still relying on the NHS for your healthcare, I suggest you contact some private company and start making other arrangements. Because you have to remember, every single preventable death that the government has been colluding with, the NHS has been there too. Every person who's been offered this clinical trial, NHS. It's all dirty. It's all corrupt. Every single part of it.
There are 3 comments I want to read out.
Go on.
The first one is by Dragon Energy, who says, biggest scandal, COVID is... I'm not going to say that because YouTube. There's been a congressional hearing on this in America today. If there is a congressional hearing, those people are controlled just like everybody else. First off, it isn't going to find anything. And secondly, it's just going to be full of all smoke and mirrors. Just look at the pretty clear-cut the Iraq War inquiries. I'm trying to remember the bloody name of them. Do you remember the name of them, Joe?
I can only think of one, the McPherson report, but I don't know what that's in relation to.
That was, if I remember rightly, wasn't that the original Gulf War?
I don't recall. I can't remember the names. It
Ah,
all
even
becomes
so, it
a
doesn't
blur. There's
Even
so
so, it
much
doesn't
corruption, I can't keep track of it. My bad.
The second one was from Roy. He said Gina's father is CEO of Ralphine Limited, which is a pharma consultancy company.
Dirty scoundrels.
Incredibly unsurprising. And the third was from Jerry, who said photos will come out of Dominic Cummings in a smoke alarm installer uniform, which was amusing. I think
I can't find that one. Where is it?
it was directly above Roy.
I found it.
Well done.
Yeah, you jumped.
I think out of everybody, dear old Dominic had the best take on this. Dominic Cummings kicks Health Secretary while he's down, claiming Britain gets Hancock week.
That's a nice euphemism. We have been getting Hancocked for quite some time. When they call it Broken Britain, it's pretty accurate at this point. Boudica says, even if the truth came out today about everything, nothing will happen, nothing will change. I do agree with you. I don't think there are enough people with the will to make it change. I think for small groups it will change, but I think overall people they've just come into, they've gotten into this position where they're so reliant on the system that requires so little effort for so much reward, to get people to actually do something, like physically get off their backsides and do something to make something different, better. I think for the majority, that's never going to happen. They are complacent in their self-enslavement.
You can't say that people aren't going out there trying to make things better, because now we've been saved. Now we have a mask that is 100% efficient at keeping out COVID virus nonsense things. What? No, I do not want to register. Do not ruin my segue, BBC. COVID mask upgrade cuts infection risk, research finds. The quality of face mask healthcare workers wear makes a huge difference to their risk of coronavirus infections, according to a study that has not been peer-reviewed.
Well,
what the
hell
anyway?
Is
the BBC doing? There's so much of this article that's remarkable. Believe it or not, this is not the most remarkable part. We're going to be getting on to the most remarkable part. Joe, did you read this earlier on when I sent it to you?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad, because your mind is blown. It's going all over the furniture. Cover up, love. Get a dust sheet. Get ready. Buckle down. We're in the weeds here.
Oh, goodness.
Apparently, wearing a high-grade face mask known as FFP3 can provide up to 100% protection, according to a non-peer-reviewed paper.
So where's the demonstrable evidence for this?
Doesn't need it. Because this article has been sponsored by M3. A face mask compared, mask riders meeting the FFP3 standard, bloody hell, that's hard to say, it reduces exposure to airborne particles, highest level of protection available, and must be tightly fitting. Normal surgical masks, on the other hand, not made by M3, as you'll note. You see the lack of M3 designation there. Meanwhile, the prevalence of the M3 designation there.
Can you just scroll back to the bottom part there? Loose fitting allows leakage around the edges. What is leaking out of your mouth?
But
What are people
what I
drooling?
wanted to. This is what I wanted to point out. This article blows the mask stuff out of the water. Surgical mask, fluid resistant, protects wearers against large droplets. A virus isn't a large droplet. Does not protect against smaller airborne particles. What the hell is it doing against a virus? Loose fitting allows leakage around the edge. It sounds like a weird advert for a tampon. The next one, fabric masks or face coverings. Does not protect you, but may protect others if you are infected. Layers of fabric, sometimes with disposable layers. Not classified as PPE.
So just to clarify, then, BBC, what you're saying is the masks that you've been helping to guilt trip people into wearing for the last year and a half are completely ineffective and pointless and a waste of time and a waste of money, and you are finally admitting it, you lying scoundrels.
The source of it, they can't even dispute this. The source is 3M. Obviously, it's been sponsored by 3M, seemingly, and gov.uk.
Oh, so the UK government also admits that masks are ineffective and completely useless and a complete and utter waste of your time and money. But do go on wearing your masks. I'm so tired of this. Take off your masks, everyone, and breathe in the fresh air. You know what? When they're telling you to wear your masks outside, you know what they're also saying? When you're inside, you're at higher risk of catching COVID. So open a window and let fresh air circulate. You couldn't make it up.
We had the good old face space hand replacement, whatever the hell it was. I don't know. The Beans Means Heinz ketchup slogan
Well, they had to change replace, didn't they? Because they used it with old people, and we already know what they're up to there. Care homes, anyone?
They didn't like that one. There's this mask here, right? And what they're going to do, they're going to attempt to amalgamate this into a better mask, a different mask, a mask that can detect COVID. So now not only can you have an M3 mask, but you can also have this little prototype which tells you if there is a COVID-19 infection in the wearer of the mask.
Well,
Technology could even be embedded in clothing, allowing first responders to detect whether nerve agents are present. Heck yeah!
Embedded in clothing. But don't worry, because we're going to get all our freedom back. Brilliant. Why has that one got a flashing blue light? What is that? A police mask? It's because they haven't got any cars left. They haven't painted a stupid pride flag on. Oh, nerve agents, yes, Boudica. That's for when they spray us down for not complying.
I have a question. Why does this mask not meet the M3 standard? Why are they using a deficient mask when the previous mask was 100% good?
Can I also say that the inside of that mask looks like a bra? Here's what I think actually happened. They got some bra. Oh, there are some bras that are like that with the double stitching for larger ladies, right? I'm just saying what they've done is they've taken some bras, they've cut them in half, they're marketing them. They're probably going to charge you £20 a pop for this mask, which is essentially half a bra. And everyone's got it. So face nappies is out, face bra is in, and that's what people are going to be wearing. Thank you, Boudica. See, the ladies know. Does that not look like the inside of a bra? Let's have the ladies in the chat answer this.
I'll be honest, it kind of looks like the bras they used to wear in the 60s.
Yeah, like old lady bras. Yeah, like proper, thick-lined, kinky bra time with masks. Philomena, don't bring the tone down. Oh, my God. My stepdad says, your trousers indicate that you were unwell, sir. I can't believe they're going to put this in clothing. And Johnny Not Pal makes a really good point. It said up to 100%, which could be 0 for all it's worth. Very good point.
Exactly.
Well, when we say could be 0, what of course we mean is probably 0, because this is just another scam. Hand over your money. You're stupid enough to buy into everything else, so pay us for this stupid half a bra. And by the way, you have to wear it on your face, not one boob, unless, of course, you want to, if you're weird. This is unbelievable. A
It
prototype face mask. Is this the
just gets
person who
worse.
made it? Look at his face. He
No,
knows it's
no,
a
no, no,
bra.
no. He
Oh,
was the geezer who was poisoned.
oh,
Is it me?
Novichok,
He kind of looks a bit like
a
that
comedian,
geezer out
an
of.
actor.
No, he looks like that geezer out of How I Met Your Mother.
Oh my God, there's a meme
He
on
does,
D
doesn't he?
Live. No, there's Keck with a bra on its face. How did somebody just
They
make
knew.
that? That's amazing.
They knew.
I wish I could put these up on the screen, but it won't. It won't let me do it because it's just an image. I'm afraid.
This test is as sensitive as the gold standard, highly sensitive PCR tests.
Oh God! Not
But
the
as far as the antigen tests that are used for quick analysis of COVID-19, how on earth?
PCR test doesn't work. Doesn't matter which
According
version of it.
according to the man who invented the PCR test is no good for this sort of thing. We've shown
No.
that video before. This is 100% factual.
Yes, just a quick reminder for anyone who hasn't seen that video. What Carrie Mullins said was basically the PCR test runs in cycles, and if you run enough cycles, you will always get a positive result, which is why the PCR test should never be used to test people for illness or used in any way as a diagnosis tool.
Yeah, but the way that it works, the way that I've seen this anyway, or had seen it explained rather, the way that it works is the PCR test takes a small sample and then grows it and makes it bigger. And then it does it again and again and again and
Yes.
again and again and again and again and again. And basically the use of a PCR test disproves that there could be a virus in and of itself. Because if there is a virus and it is in your body and it is making you sick, you don't need to go through the hassle of growing it and making it bigger. You can just go anywhere in the body, find the virus, and there it is.
Yes.
That's what it's for. It's for catching something at a very, very, very early stage. That is for catching things that are not like the flu. It's for things like AIDS, which is what it was designed for.
Yeah, let's not talk about what AIDS was designed for, because that's a whole nother stream. Anyway, carry on.
Apparently, this mask includes a small reservoir of water that, when released, the wearer pushes a button to perform the test. Okay, weird. So basically, it's a little bit like the things that the Formula One drivers have in the back, the water pouch. They press it and they get a drink.
What's interesting though, and we didn't, we're not covering this tonight, but I'm sure most of you have read it by now. Children are
No, we're covering this on a different day. Don't ruin it.
You don't even know what I was about to say.
You said children.
Yeah, but I don't think we covered this one.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You can stop me. It's about using orange juice. Yeah?
No, I have
Right.
no idea. I apologise.
Okay. So children are using orange juice in their PCR tests so that they can get sent home from school, because children hate school and orange juice is conveniently available everywhere. And lots of children are doing this. And when I say children, of course, I mean the older children. And the PCR test is so incredibly fake that it is finding COVID in orange juice. And then, of course, there are people who have been testing puddles and Coke and no one. So there you go.
That was amusing. Anyway, moving on. This is kind of an interesting string of articles as opposed to one interesting article. The first one, only 2 people have died with the Indian variant after full vaccination. First off, well done for Sarah Napton for calling it the Indian variant and not the Delta variant.
Oh, she'll
I
get told
approve.
off for that.
She will be. She'll be a very naughty girl. She'll be sent off to the headmasters. She is the science editor, so she has no excuse. She is not us. Variant of concern in this area. This must be Bedford. A sign in Bolton. Fair enough. I expected it to be Bedford. But yeah, anyway, go on. Just 2 people have died from it after receiving both vaccinations, suggesting the jab plays a major role in preventing serious disease, even for the mutation.
Wow, just 2 people. Isn't that good? Isn't that good, everyone? It's so effective. Only 2 people have died after being fully vaccinated. Brilliant. I'm sure that number will never change.
Absolutely not. It will never enlarge to very few, which is the next step. Very few
Ooh.
COVID hospital patients have had 2 jabs, says the boss. Another shining dome piece here on the vaccine, the name of which I can't remember. Is it with all these bald men in government? What's going on here?
So how do they quantify very few compared to what?
Very many.
Okay, I did kind of walk into that one.
Thank you. That was enjoyable.
Aria says 2 people. Oh my God, panic lockdown now. I just want to remind everyone that when the country was originally locked down, something like 111 people had died. People with other conditions. And how many people have died after receiving their vaccines?
Unknown, but keep in mind medical misinformation and all of that jazz.
True.
Now, very few, sorry. Head of NHS providers has said very few COVID patients in England have received 2 coronavirus jabs, showing the vaccine provide a high level of protection. Now, very few, according to dear old Matt Hancock, who is now left, is the wrong link.
I wonder if
It
that's why
is.
they got Matt Hancock to say all these things, because they knew they were going to give him the boot.
Oh, without a doubt. But apparently, it's about 90% of people haven't had the vaccine. So that means 10% have had vaccines. So we've gone from 2 to very few to 10%. I personally think 10% is more than very few. I think 10% is quite a noticeable number.
Yes, but
Don't
it's
you?
still smaller than very many.
That is true. It
You
is
were
smaller
having
than
to point out.
it is smaller than very many, but it is still more than very few. 10% is more than very few. This pandemic isn't over yet. Our vaccination program has reached 70% of the adult population, but that means there's more than a quarter still haven't been jabbed. He told MPs in the Commons this morning. This was when he was a good boy. This was from a while ago. Apparently 43% of adults have had both jabs. Means more than half are yet to get the fullest protection possible that 2 jabs give. Well, lad, do I have some news for you? Because apparently jabs work, we just need to jab harder. Bombshell charts show vaccine programs is working. Majority in hospital are unjabbed. So we've gone from 2 to very few to
43%.
10% to now just majority in hospital are unjabbed. It's almost as if they're backtracking just a little bit.
It's also noticeable that there are no specific numbers and it's all incredibly vague. There you go. Johnny Redpillseed says it must be true. It's in capitals.
That's how you know something is real. It's like if it's followed by classified or sources say. That's
Or
the best.
experts say.
Experts say, close sources, anything of that ilk. That's
Say ministers.
100%. Ministers, absolutely. When you look at the makeup in hospital admissions, you can clearly see our vaccination program is working. It then goes on to speak
Well,
some more shining dome piece once again.
When he looks into it, he can see things are working. No one's sharing the figures with anyone else, are they? We can't see anything because you're hiding it from us.
Yeah, but Joe, don't you understand that it's highly effective at keeping COVID variant sufferers out of hospital?
There's a comment I want to mention, Werner's comment. These people want to be taken seriously using unscientific language. This is a good point. It's very dumbed down,
Yes.
isn't it?
It's like they're trying to be Trump, but they're
Yes.
not as lovable.
Yeah, I agree.
And Trump was by and large, pretty much correct.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think, didn't we read a headline that apparently Trump was more seriously ill than he'd let on? It's very easy, isn't it, now, to attack someone who is deplatformed, essentially. Philomena, all I can say is it must be the stress of lying to the public on a daily basis. Made all the hair fall out.
Unvaccinated people have twice the risk of hospital admission with the Delta variant as the Alpha variant. The Alpha variant would obviously be the first variant, also known as Daddy.
Are these the unvaccinated people in every age group? Because the initial findings and those that have been basically reiterated all the way through this is that if you are outside of the prime age group, which is over 80, I think, and if you don't have any pre-existing problems, you are not actually likely to either catch it or be admitted to hospital if you catch it. So when they say unvaccinated people, they are lumping in the entire population. But we know that the risk for people as they get younger and healthier is so close to zero as to be ridiculous. Carry on.
Oh, it says now this. Listen to the science we approve of. Don't listen to opposing science.
Yes.
Opposing science is bad. Don't look around the science, you're under.
Yeah, listen to the scientists that the government pay, not the ones who are risking everything, because they clearly have an agenda, like losing their jobs.
Apparently, among those who are vaccinated, 12 in every 100 may end up in hospital with Delta compared to 8 from Alpha. So, interestingly, Delta is more dangerous than Alpha, even though that's typically not the virus progression. Typically, viruses get weaker as they go on. They don't get stronger.
They want a living host because they want to
Exactly.
propagate. That's their sole reason for existing, is to spread and grow. So if they're going to get more dangerous, they're going to kill more hosts, and they're going to have fewer hosts to spread to.
According to Health and Social Care Secretary Matt Hancock.
Not anymore.
He said, not anymore, RIP, lad. Our UK vaccination programme continues at pace and has already saved thousands of lives. It is our way out of this pandemic.
You can't say that.
Even though almost a third of patients who've died after catching the Delta variant had both jabs.
Oh, wait, this number is growing. But they can't say how many lives they've saved because you can't prove a negative. That's like a car crash occurring down the street and 1,000 people get burned in the debris and the explosions, and I go back in time and prevent it. I could tell everyone, well, I saved 1,000 lives, but I can't prove it because it didn't happen. So that is nonsense. That is just an outright lie. Potentially, they could have saved lives if they're going to go down that route, but they cannot say they saved them. If somebody goes to hospital and they actually save them, then yes, you can claim that you saved a life. Because you could also say staying at home and protecting the NHS saved lives. I suppose for some it did, but for many others it didn't.
Would you like to run us through the progression now, Joe? Because this is in the space of 2 weeks. We've gone from about the 28th of May to the 13th of June.
So we've gone from only two people who had both jabs succumbed to the Delta variant. Were hospitalised because of it.
Exactly.
And then it was very few. And then it was a third. No, sorry. Then it was 10%. And now it's a third. Almost a third, sorry.
In the space of 2 weeks.
But that's okay, because, if you've had both jabs, it's obviously saving lives. But
now the message has changed. Now that is no longer true. Because even if you're vaccinated, even if you're double vaccinated, the Delta variant can still impact you. The Indian variant will get you. Love how they've got 2 Indian lads in this picture. I just noticed.
Will they have to show where the Delta variant came from? No? So they won't say it anymore, so...
No. It's like a picture book, kind of, I suppose. Apparently, nearly all COVID-19 deaths in the United States are now among the unvaccinated. Okay. Do you have actual proof? Probably not. Probably like a lot of squiffy figures going on there.
Well, we know that they lied about the first few thousand cases that they mentioned. Take care, Boudica. Bye, love.
Oh, I love.
Because they admitted on Sky News that if somebody was diagnosed in April and got into a car crash in October following a positive test, PCR test, by the way, that they would be marked down as a COVID death. So, and they've admitted this on mainstream television. So we know that they've been fiddling the figures. We don't know how much by, but they have admitted to doing it.
There's a quote. I never remember how it goes, but I remember the general gist, and it's something along the lines of "Show me the outcome, and I'll show you the way to get there," sort of thing. Or show me the result, and I'll show you the means.
Yeah, I know the quote you mean. I can't think of it.
I can't think. I'll Google it in a moment, or someone could pop into chat. Somebody will know. Somebody's chat is smart. Chat knows things. Nearly all COVID-19 deaths in the US are now people who weren't vaccinated. Staggering demonstration of how effective the shots have been, and an indication that deaths per day, now down to under 300, could be practically zero if everyone eligible got the vaccine.
A staggering demonstration. Demonstrated to whom? Show us the figures. Give us the names. Let us do the research. No? No demonstrable evidence there at all. Arias is saying how many died with blue eyes, but they dare not publish those figures. They don't know.
I have the quote.
Oh, go on.
I remember it was from Charlie Munger, who said, "Show me the incentive, and I'll show you the outcome." Their incentive is a heck of a lot of money, and they want to make a heck of a lot of money through things like the flu jab. Thereby, they start making people get the flu jab.
Well, this is Big Pharma wanting more money. Roy says the quote you're looking for is, "Hello, I'm a statistician. What would you like me to prove?" This is really where we are now, isn't it? And Bazooka Joe says, "Problem, reaction, solution." Not to quote David Icke all the time, but he's pretty much nailed it on this stuff. He was quite a way ahead of his time. The lizard people thing was a bit off-putting.
Hey! What was that article I sent you about lizard people?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What was I don't remember what it was. I'm going to have to find it. Right? I will not allow you to besmirch the good name of lizard people.
The good name of lizard people?
Yeah, whatever the thing was. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, that was it. Okay, I've got it. It was a thing on Telegram. Man sends lizard survivor to 23andMe for DNA testing, exposing total fraud of company's claims of human ancestry. The man explains how after 3 months of waiting, he received a result suggesting his pet lizard was 48% West Asian and 51% Ashkenazi Jew. The lizard people are real. We have proof. David Icke is not a madman.
I don't wish to cast aspersions on a particular group, but it does explain a lot. Moving on.
Indeed. Apparently, I'm mildly done with the Delta variant, but it may be escaping immunity from COVID-19 vaccines.
So hang on. So now it's not protecting you?
No, it is not. I do have a question though. Why is this medical professional wearing a mask that is not of the right standard? We have seen earlier on that all this does is stop large droplets, nothing else.
And the visor.
And the visor, naturally, you've got to get it going.
Dragon Energy has a really good question, which I want to put up on the screen. How come 1 billion Chinese managed to avoid it without a vaccine?
It was all those weird Chinese remedies, like lizard testicles.
Acupuncture.
Acupuncture, there you go, they just stabbed the virus out.
But it is a
Well,
good.
they used to take in needles. That's what the Opium Wars was all about.
It is a good point, and if you want to bring up Hong Kong as well, the only thing Hong Kongians, I don't know. The only thing those people care about is basically rushing to London before their chance runs out. So these people aren't worried about COVID.
Not at all.
I don't know.
This is branding.
I just get the feeling this is only happening in some parts of the world. It's amazing. It's like there's a bubble of protection. Anyway, moving on.
Indeed, moving on. The last little bit on COVID, because COVID amusing, but that's it.
Yeah, we're kind of bored
Russia
of it.
says, indeed, Russia. That's why we laugh at it. Russia says people can decline its vaccines, but for many, they'll get fired if they do. So, not really much of a choice going on here.
So it's voluntary, but there are conditions. It's not a choice.
Right,
You can
so
choose
you're
not
gonna
to
have
have it, but you're going to pay.
What? This awful website. Leave me alone, CNN. I don't want to watch your videos. Go away.
It's CNN. What did you expect, honestly?
I know. It's the only way they can get people to watch their stuff is when they're, forced to watch it, like at airports.
Well, the bar is pretty low on CNN. I think they have all these pop-up videos to distract you from the rubbish you're reading. But anyway, let's see what they've got to say.
If you ask the Kremlin whether COVID-19 vaccination in Russia is voluntary, officials will tell you it is. Yet authorities in Moscow have put together a policy that essentially gives people in public-facing roles little choice but to get their shots. Faced with stubbornly low vaccination rates, Moscow authorities announced just over a week ago that at least 60% of staff in the service industry, spanning everything from catering to housing and transport, must get vaccinated with at least one shot by July 15th. Or as they've said, July 15. Which is I don't know why July 15 is more offensive to me than 15 July.
It's all offensive. This is journalism today. Aria says, "Jump or we will push you." That's basically the choice you have.
Yep.
This is interesting from Dragon Energy. We're going to have to use the word alleged here. At the hearing in Congress, they pointed out that the Chinese have allegedly a race-based bioweapon program designed to target certain races, but not the Chinese. Except, you've got to remember that the first pictures that came out of China were of people dropping in the street. Now, obviously, these people were actors. It's interesting as well when you compare that to what we've got today with the NHS, because people were turning up in white vans and hazmat suits.
Mm-hmm.
It was so dangerous in the UK that people are just dumping their masks on the street. Why aren't they being incinerated? Why aren't they being incinerated if this is so dangerous? Makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, carry on.
It was not alleged. It was from the PLA's own documents.
Okay, well in that case,
even so, do keep in mind that the rules you play by when you use platforms like YouTube are vastly different from reality. Reality is not alleged. YouTube rules are it's alleged.
Thank you, Dragon Energy, for clarifying that.
Yeah, I do understand, but have like a little bit of sympathy for all streamers when they kind of pussyfoot around certain things. It is purely because there's kind of no point being a martyr over something that's basically irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's not a hill to
exactly.
There are many hills to die on. Putting allegedly in front of something is not one of them.
And we may occasionally get things wrong. We try not to, and we correct it when we do. But the reality is that there are things that we're talking about that we know to be absolute truth, but we will be accused of medical misinformation or various other things because censorship, unfortunately. So, but we do appreciate you bringing that information to us.
Is that right? Read
Very interesting.
A little. Just know that if we say allegedly, odds are we don't mean it. As of Monday, people in Moscow are now required to show proof of vaccination, a negative PCR, or show a past COVID-19 infection in the last 6 months to be allowed entry into the city's cafes and restaurants.
PCR test. Brilliant. Again, the one test that you can produce a false positive with if you run it through enough cycles. It's just amazing. The thing that really, we were talking about this earlier, we've got a very weird relationship here in Britain with Putin. The British government think Russia's behind everything, and the British public don't really care and don't believe most of it. Well, the sane British public anyway. Even Novichok raised questions like why it only targeted a couple and no one else. But anyway, that's a whole other stream. So is
That was
Russia?
interesting in and of itself because that took place just down the road from the chemical weapons lab.
Yeah.
And that chemical weapons lab is rather interesting if people want to look into it. My personal favourite highlight of that chemical weapons lab was that one time back in the 50s when they decided to absolutely obliterate an island off of Scotland, pumped so much anthrax onto it that it took until like the late 80s before people were able to safely go near it and douse it in formaldehyde and scrape off the top. I think it was like 11 foot of soil.
That was an MOD. That was MOD land, wasn't it?
No. People were living on that island, and they just came along and said, "You're not living here anymore."
No, I mean the Novichok thing didn't that come from an MOD facility?
Oh, probably. Allegedly. Oh, no, what
Right.
are you saying? How stupid are you, Joe? That obviously came from Russia.
Oh, my bad.
Very bad men.
Dragon Energy has a request. I'm almost positive this is for Jordan. So, question for you, Jordan, or rather a request. Please invade.
Heck yeah!
Don't start him off.
Where are we invading? Where are we invading? Let's go. We need a good invasion. This is what we need. Let's invade Wales next week.
Well, I've got a few other comments while you're talking about your invasion fantasy. Arima says one thing to consider is that the common cold is a coronavirus, so if you've got a sniffle, they can get you. Yes, before reality got memory hold, if you look back through old medical journals and encyclopedias, the coronavirus was listed as a cold.
Mm-hmm.
So, new words, big scary words, but maybe, just maybe, the thing that you were worried about.
By the way.
Sorry?
It was Porton Down, by the way.
That's
so thank
the
you for
one.
everyone saying that. I couldn't remember the name of it.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, so Dragon Energy, Jordan will work on a plan about invasion and he'll let you know.
Yeah. Let's go. Suit and boot, lads.
Oh, what's MOD? Sorry, Phyllis Bear, that's the Ministry of Defence. They're not defending anything. So the Ministry of Unemployment, maybe.
They're certainly not defending our borders, are they, Joe?
Oh, God, don't start me on border control again.
Because, on a heck of a segue here, because EU immigration to the UK underestimated by 1.6 million.
How do they know, if they don't know who's in the country, how do they know it's 1.6 million? And it raises the bigger question, how do they know who's in this country at all? How do they know that figure is the figure if they don't know who is in the country?
One minute. EU immigration to the UK was underestimated by more than 1.6 million between 2012 and 2020. It has emerged after the Office of National Statistics revised its methodology to produce new figures that dwarf previous estimates. Surely, something like this isn't really an estimate. It's just when they arrive at the border, look at the passport, they from France? Yes. Write it down.
Yes, why are they using estimates? Just get a clicker machine, have someone stand there and just count the people. This is how they count footfall in shopping centres. It's a thing.
There is nothing to do. There's nothing to estimate. It's simple.
Surely when people pass through customs, don't they register that they've passed through customs? Don't they scan their passport? Isn't there an actual record, an exact record of the people entering and leaving the country on a daily basis? So, what, did they lose the records? Was there a malfunction? Did they have hamster internet? Like, what is going on? And yeah, Aria. So obviously, I'm not counting the dingy people that they're actually going and collecting, because they certainly wouldn't keep a record of that. It's just truly amazing. I hate this idea that people think that the government's incompetent because they know exactly what they're doing, but there are departments within it that are truly inept and unfit for purpose. And you know what? They're still taking money from you. You're still paying their wages. If somebody paid you to do a job as badly as they do their jobs, you would be sacked and no one would ever employ you. It's just ridiculous.
At least they
really
admit they're
quiet.
incompetent. No.
Oh.
At least they admit they're incompetent.
Occasionally.
Makes a nice change.
Not enough.
Apparently, though, the EU is to blame for migrant problems. Nothing to do with our government. Our government is completely innocent. All the problems that we face are because of the EU. Whatever you do, do not look at the Conservative government that have been in power now for the last, 10 years?
So, well, the EU certainly aren't responsible for our border force going out and collecting immigrants and escorting them into the country.
No, because apparently this is a European problem. EU blasted for failing to stop illegal migrants entering the UK. They've been attacked for failing to adequately deal with the illegal migrant crisis, forcing the UK to deal with the issue of people crossing the English Channel. To be fair, it's a really simple issue to deal with.
Forcing the UK to not deal with the issue, do you mean? Because they're not dealing with it. But I will say, in defence of this story, there is one thing I will agree with. We are paying France to keep these people out. And they are taking our money, again, and not doing the job. So, yeah, we should definitely be asking for a refund.
Yeah, while speaking on GB...
Go on, sorry.
While speaking on GB News, the former chief of the Immigration Office, Kevin Sanders, said it was the EU's fault for not doing its job and stopping the illegal crossings.
Mm-hmm.
Crossings of the British Channel into the UK. It's not the British Channel.
It's the English Channel. Don't be changing history.
That is incorrect, Mr. Sanders. Where are you from?
I don't know, but Aramis has just pointed out who this is written by.
Oh, who is it written by? I didn't read that. Oh, what the heck?
Oh, not Richard, but you were close. Gerard Kayonga. Nice English name. So that actually, right, I'm offended. Who can I complain to? No one, because no one cares. It's the English Channel, you dimwit. Carry on.
He admitted there was no issues with those seeking asylum in the UK. However, he claimed that many were economic migrants. Yes, we've been saying this for years and years and years and years.
You know what the irony is? We're going to have the last laugh, because if you're coming to Britain for a better life, joke's on you.
Anyway, he then goes on to defend his job and blah, 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 blah. He agree this is a European problem. The Europeans are not playing the game. Or at least he admits it's a game.
Oh, they're playing the game very well. When did this man become ex-head of the Border Force?
I have no idea. It doesn't say.
Did any migrants enter the country while you were in charge, Mr. Saunders? Just saying. Because they have a habit of doing this, don't they? Ex-people having a pop at the current people for doing the same thing as the ex-people did. Dirty, broken, corrupt system. Doesn't matter who's in charge. Doesn't matter which puppet is at the head of it. The problems are the same, the solutions are the same, or the lack of solutions. The
Well,
bitter
the
victory of
lack of
having
political solution.
the bitter victory of having nothing to steal. You came all the way from Libya. There's nothing left. You might as well turn around. Take care, love. Have a good evening.
Indeed.
So the border's really starting to irk me.
Is it? I never noticed.
Unidentified source Arius. I made it up. Well, this is the problem again. The mainstream media tells us what they want us to hear. But there's no demonstrable evidence for anything they say anymore, and this is mostly opinion, or it's just an interview with someone and it's their opinion. At the end of the day, we need to start moving away from these nudges. These are nudges, moving away from these influences. It really comes. I mean, we have fun doing these news segments, but at the end of the day, that it makes no difference ultimately to the bigger picture. It's just a way to sort of break the tension and kind of reduce the rage by having a laugh.
Well, the thing that I hope it kind of fulfills is that mock the week itch, because mock the week is a good program. It's just
It used to be, and then it got woke.
yeah, exactly. It used to be, and then it just became like kid gloves at best. Right? We need that itch scratched. It's like the good old days when Have I Got News for You was awesome.
Yes.
Right? It's that sort of thing, that Angus Deaton just holding people to account. Right? We need that back. That little bit of fun, that little bit of edgy humour plus actual information. That's what I very much enjoy out of these. Plus the segues.
The thing is as well that these sort of political shows or current affairs shows actually used to hold the government to account, as did the media.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I know it was all grounded in propaganda, but they would at least attempt to hold the media to account. Some of them would at least. And nobody is holding the media to account. Sorry, holding the government to account anymore. Labour's ineffective. The shadow government. Well, shadow's the right word, because unless you shine a light on them, you forget they exist. They do nothing. They do absolutely nothing.
Even when we went onto their website the other week, there was no plans. There was nothing there. It was just like, here, give us some money. We like money. Money helps us do stuff that we don't tell you about. Just money. Give us money.
Are you talking about Labour or the Commons now?
Labour.
Okay, it's hard to tell the difference between them now.
We haven't been on the Tory Party's website. We should do that one day. Actually, have a little look around there, dig and see what's going on.
Oh God! Okay, we could do that. We should do a comparison between Labour and the Tories, just to show you that they're exactly the same: ineffective, uncaring. They don't care. They don't care about the people they represent. Well, they do care about the people they represent. They don't care about the people they're elected to represent. And they don't care about the people who pay their wages. But they care a lot about the people who give them backhanders. All of these COVID-related contracts, for instance, it's just so corrupt and dirty. It really is time now for us to start thinking about life without big government and start living as though that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole system is going to crash and burn at some time. And when it does, we need to be prepared. Because out of chaos initially will come anarchy. And
sounds perfect to me.
Yeah, but not everyone's in a position to deal with anarchy.
Well, no, I'm not.
Defensively.
I'm not in a good position to deal with that either. But I'm just saying it would be a good thing because there's a world of opportunities. This is what I keep trying to hammer home on the make do mainstreams.
Yes, but what would be really easy for us to or rather, if this was in place, it would be really easy to deal with this anarchy that's coming, and that is to have actual communities. And this is why we need to come together with our neighbours and our friends and people who share our interests. Because it's security, it's safety. You protect them, they protect you in turn. You protect each other by having large numbers in your groups. You have people who will notice if something happens to you. You will have people who will stand with you when a stand needs to be made. This battle cannot be fought by a bunch of individuals. It just cannot. We won't win. They'll take everything from us. And our children will inherit this world that we're leaving them. Or we can stand together and fight. Doesn't matter what the fight is. It doesn't matter what the rebellion is. It could be the tiniest thing in the world. But it contributes. And it builds on something. Community is everything. The people that you care about will care about you. And when you stand and protect them, they will stand and protect you. And it doesn't matter if you're a widow or an elderly person or someone who is injured or disabled. It doesn't matter. The thing that we have that they are afraid of is numbers. But we're all spread everywhere and we don't work together in large groups. We just don't work together. We've forgotten how to. That's something we need to learn again. Because it's the one thing they're afraid of. And it's the one thing that will stop them messing with you.
I would like to end on David's comment, please.
Oh,
Said, any pretense that our government is run by this country must surely be over.
That our government runs the country, not is run by the country.
Well, you know, I can't read.
I only corrected.
Either way it works.
I only corrected that.
Works.
The government is run by the country.
Well, you know, either way, it does work.
No, it doesn't. Because if anyone's listening on the radio, they can't see the quote.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it still works that way around. It's not correct, but it does work. Either way, it works. It's all good. Point being, I think everybody sees and understands that this is that it's all a big game to these people, and that it's a joke, and that you can't trust them. And now it's just about going out and reaching normal people and having conversations with them.
Yeah.
Can't read career in politics. Heck yeah, get me in, lads.
This is why we've been talking about putting aside the sort of the comments or the statements or the principles that would alienate people. Whatever your feelings are on a particular topic, we have a big bad evil to fight right now, and that evil is the people who are crushing our soul, crushing our spirit. Mm-hmm. If we come together on that basis, then people will probably split into their ideological groups and spend more time with the people that they have more in common with. But until we fight what's happening to us now, those other smaller groups will never exist, because we won't exist to create them. There are going to be communities popping up everywhere, and those communities are going to work with and for each other to make sure that they are safe. It's on all of us to make sure that we either create those communities or we become part of those communities for our own safety. I don't want our children to inherit some kind of dystopian nightmare. But the way things are going, those are our choices. Be a part of a community that will stand together and fight for each other, or stand alone and fall. And I don't say this to frighten people, but just looking through what we've looked through, just the last year and a half, surely tells everyone that things are as good as they're ever going to be, and a lot worse is coming. We can't afford to leave people behind, and we can't fight this battle alone. We've got to stand now. We've got to make a stand. Will says there's nowhere left to run. They've made sure there's nowhere left to run. Every country is in the same mess. Now we must stand and fight. And even though I'm not a religious person, this is, to me, a spiritual fight. We're fighting for a return to nature and a return to sanity and decency and a healthy upbringing for our children. Yeah.
What we're in at the moment is incredibly abnormal, and we're just trying to get back to normal.
Yeah.
So the real question is, why do you hate normal?
Well, normal has just been demonized as something abnormal. Everything's been inverted. It's time for us to stand for the principles we agree with And by the way, principles that millions of other people agree with. And if we needed further proof, they're out at these protests. They're out marching for our right to take our children for a walk. I knew I was waiting for you to say that. But yeah, it is a psychological war, Bazooka Joe. But the thing is, the thing that makes us strong is our community. How many of you come away from streams like this and go back to somewhat of an isolationist worldview? And then you come here again and it kind of boosts you up again. You know, it fills up something that's missing. If you had a real community on your doorstep, you could feel like this all the time.
Like the sort that Jonathan has built and Andrew is building.
Yes, absolutely. These people are trying to drain us dry of any inspiration, aspiration, any feelings of motivation, productivity. They're trying to demoralize, devalue, and demonize us. And when you come away from these communities, it starts to become a bit overwhelming. And then you come back into these communities and you're like, yes, I'm back where I belong. And it's a great feeling. And you could have this all the time, but it's going to require a bit of work. But it will pay off because there are millions of people out there just like us who want the same thing. Mm-hmm. We just have to find a way to connect with them. If we build something good, people will come to it. One Easy Money says, hang on, Joe, they, the minority opinion, try to gaslight and marginalise the majority opinion that they don't want to argue their opinion with any of. Yeah, I do agree with that. They do try to gaslight us. And they don't argue. They just make statements and then demand that you either agree with their statements or you're some kind of ist, right? We can't let them get away with this anymore. Our position is normal. And our message is be normal. Embrace normality. Embrace all the decent, good things in life. Because we want those things for our children. Philomena says they want you to feel defeated and depressed. Does anyone feel defeated and depressed in one of these streams? When you're here with the rest of our community?
I certainly hope not.
I hope not. But imagine feeling like this, the way you feel when you're here with your community all the time. It can be done. It really can be done. We'll get there.
Oh, we're safe. Stepdad has said no. And Dragon has also said no. Oh, good. We have 2 fans, yay.
It's truly a wonderful feeling to know that people feel the way we do. When we come together with you guys, we feel wonderful. Because this community exists and it gives us hope. And as Josh said, well, we give you hope, you give us hope. So there you go, it's reciprocal. That's what we need to do, is to lift each other up. RS, you know what, we've discussed this so many times. I think we're at the point now where the people who would be saved have been.
Yep. It's now just about reaching out to those people.
Yeah, we can't save everyone, unfortunately. And I know some of those people are going to be people we care about, family members or friends.
I think a lot of it is basically just finding out ways to broach the subject.
Yeah.
And just working out who's normal and who's not normal. Like I said about my office manager a couple of weeks ago, probably a bit more than that now, or my ex-office manager. And a conversation with her, but it kind of saw very, very quickly that she was on our side. The woman who made our logo right there in the middle of the screen, she's much the same. She's one of us, even though if you were to see her in real life, you wouldn't assume it at all. Not even remotely.
When you told that story originally, we agreed, didn't we, that a lot of these people keep their mouths shut because they don't know how they're going to be received. And I would argue that COVID is the controversial subject here because people have got their very set ideas about it. But lockdown, I think everyone's agreed, is unethical, unjust, and you could argue illegal. So if you talk about lockdown and your issues with lockdown, I think most people are on board. Almost everyone wants it to be over. And then, of course, you've got the people in the asylum, but almost everyone wants it to be over. Start with that. Start with talking about lockdown. Start with talking about the effect it's having on children, the effect it's had on people psychologically, the poor people who have had to shut their business and open it and shut it and open it, who have been just stripped of all financial means now because they've bought stock that they couldn't sell, and then stock has been, it's gone off and they've had to throw it in the bin, and companies that have gone out of business, and children who have taken their own lives, and adults who have taken their own lives. There are a lot of downsides to these lockdowns, and almost everyone agrees with that those downsides are irreparable. They will never make up for what they've done to us. It's a really good starting point. Yeah, it's one of those tricky things, Will. I think all you can do is tell people that you love them, that you care for them, and that even if they disagree with you, you are acting out of love, and that you are just trying to protect them. They may disagree with that, but that is your motivation. So at least you can maybe salvage a relationship, even if it's just on the phone. Nobody wants to walk away from their family. So it's tricky. But if we can get to the point where we've got a larger group of people around us who agree with us, not only will it lift you up, but it will lift them up. And that will keep you going. This is a spiritual war. This is a psychological war. And, sometimes you have to replenish the well. So we come together and we fill up on this amazing community. And then as it starts to fade away, we come back and we kind of fill up again. We recharge our batteries. We can't afford to give in to despair. Despair is for weaklings. We're not weak. We are Europeans. We are strong and we persevere, and we always have. And that's the reason why they go after us so hard. Because we do persevere. We have fought back against the worst possible situations throughout history, and we've always come out on top. And we will do again. We've got to stick with it. Let's build up this community. Let's build this community up. If you know people who agree with us, send them over to the stream. Let's start spreading the word. Let's start growing and connecting with other communities. If anyone knows of another community that has the same message as us, that believes in what we believe in, feel free to put us in touch with them, or vice versa. Or ask them to come and have a listen. And we'd love to chat with them.
Which they can do over on Odyssey, which we forgot to post a link to today.
Yes. No, Arius, I just make this stuff up and then I start ranting. I'm very emotional. I'm a woman. I'm not French, Jordan, before you start. I don't know why I said that. I thought I was going to bring up Italian.
I have no idea.
They're passionate. No, Jordan calls me French. He likes insulting me. Sorry,
weird.
English Will.
Oh, Eddie's alive!
Hello, Eddie! Long time no see.
Indeed it is. I had two things to read out, and you just went on an epic...
My bad.
ramble.
Tell me where they are. I'll find them.
The first thing was Dragon Energy. Mate, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope things go well for them. The second was Johnny Not Powers.
Right.
He said, I see civilization breaking down. It's normal. It's happened over and over before. Just be ahead of the game and prep for it. Might not be easy, but it's your only hope. I think it is really interesting how we're living in a time where that is happening. That civilization is breaking down.
Yeah.
And unlike every time that it's happened before, so like you look at the end of the Roman Empire, for example, people had no real knowledge it was happening. People in this country, they didn't know the Roman Empire was done. They carried on living as if the Roman Empire would return for another, I think it was 40 years. The Roman system maintained in this country after the Western Roman Empire, anyway, collapsed. We now live in a time where not only do we know that it's collapsed the day that it's collapsed, but we know long in advance. We're actually in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't seem it because what we're up against is pretty damn horrific. But the reality is, if you compare the amount of information we're able to consume in comparison to the amount of information that our ancestors were able to consume,
yeah,
it's night and day. We have a massive, massive advantage. And as I was trying to say earlier on, this is something that I bang on about in the Mate Do Amends streams. we have an incredible number of opportunities here. And it doesn't matter what motivates you, whether it's money, whether it's social status, whatever, irrelevant. The fact is, the wheels are coming off at an alarming rate. We have the ability to make massive, massive changes. That's why we're starting with a 3D printer and we're going to be upgrading and moving into different things. But the reality is, the aim is to start making proper tools, proper things that we can use. So instead of going to, Halfords or B&Q, the awful place that is Wix's, instead we can start making these things. We can start buying these things from ourselves and we can start expanding out. Next time, instead of making or buying a barbecue from Homebase or wherever, instead we'll be able to talk to, Bob. Or the next time somebody needs a belt, we're going to be able to talk to Andrew and say, Andrew, make me a belt, lad. And he's going to get on it. And we're going to expand from that. We're going to expand out from this. There is an incredible number of opportunities that we now have that weren't afforded to our ancestors. And Roy is dead on. The internet is accelerating the process. This is why I refuse to go into the hunker down anti-technology approach. Just this idea that we're going to withdraw from all technology and be perfectly safe if we all just huddle together. It's completely the opposite. The internet and everything that it affords us is what will enable us to be safe and enable us to keep going.
Yeah, and Andrew says it's a controlled demolition to rebuild it in a more centralized form. This gives us a unique opportunity to create a decentralized version. This is the thing. When we say that we could live as though there's not big government, we absolutely could. We can right now. And there is a small window of opportunity to get out in front of this. And my biggest regret is that we came to this quite late. Mm-hmm. And we didn't bring people together with a bit more time to plan and to prepare for it. But you know what? The time is now. There is no more time to waste. And it doesn't matter if we didn't have an extra 6 months or an extra 2 years. As long as we don't waste the time we've got now, it won't matter. And Johnny Not Powell says they want a fourth revolution. They are telling us that. We want something else, so we plan for what we want. It's that simple. Well said.
Mm-hmm. Well said indeed.
And Andrew says we need people making clothes unless you want to be wearing Mad Max S leather bondage gear. No, not more bondage. Is there a pride parade round the corner? I hate that. Aria says cannot rely on the internet. They can switch it off at any time they want. The best thing for people to do who can't physically come together is build up a bond, build up friendship, build up trust. Maybe start exchanging phone numbers when you feel that you trust someone enough. Use the obvious precautions. Be very careful with the information you share. And start building a network of people you can reach if there is no internet. But Andrew is quite right. We need people to start creating things that are going to be withheld from us.
Philomena is learning to make her own clothes.
Good for you, my darling.
Boudica already does, I believe. And on top of that, on the Discord, I think I did post it, or maybe the link was a bit large. I found a load of books on pattern cutting or pattern making.
Yes.
Which is like how to make clothing and that sort of stuff. If it isn't on Discord, let me know and I will pop them onto the WRT server and then I'll put the link to that in the Discord.
Brilliant. We're going to wrap up soon because we're eating into Nick's time, but just really quick.
Well, we're going to wrap up because I'm getting so bloody thirsty I might become Ethiopian in a minute.
Will says we could turn masks into bikinis and Speedos. We could always buy those bra masks if you stitch two of them together. But One Easy Money has a question. Did the United States and Great Britain already collapse and that they are trying to put together a contingency? Quite likely. Financially, both countries have collapsed. It's pretty obvious for everyone to see. They're just printing money. I mean, the national debt now in both countries is extortionate. There's so many zeros. I can't even imagine that much money. Thank you for that, Andrew. No, nobody wants to see anyone's backside. So yeah, we better get making clothes, everyone. Bring back ham radio. Oh, we'd love to. We were talking about CB radios before. Maybe this is something we could work on after we get the printer done as a community project. What we'd really like is for people here in the audience, in our community, to come and join us on the streams and show off the work that you're doing. I know it's a bit nerve-wracking, but honestly, we're just one big family here.
I would love to do it. Maybe we could do that on Thursday. Because on Thursday I have one thing to show off, and then we're just gonna be chatting. So I'd actually be really interested in that. We might
yes.
there you go. Thursday is call-in day. So if you've made anything,
yeah, there you go. We'll have open mic on a Thursday for community
this
projects.
Thursday specifically.
Yeah, on the Make Do Amend, obviously not on the Dig show, although who knows how that will change in the future. So if you've made something, created something, designed something, refurbed something, jump on the call, tell us what you've done, show us some pictures if you've got them. And we'd love to showcase your work.
Indeed.
And it might inspire other people. And that's really the key here. This is the reason why this channel exists, to give people hope and inspiration. If you know anyone else who might benefit from this community, please invite them to come along and watch a stream. You can drop them a link. If you need to grab the Discord link or any other links, please just let us know in the chat and we will provide that for you. If you're not already on our Discord, our mods have kindly dropped the Discord link. If you can drop it again, that'd be great. If you're listening on the radio, of course, you won't be able to see any of the chat in the stream. You can join us on the stream and see the visual. But if you are just listening on the radio, we're so very grateful to have you listen, and welcome to the community. There you go. Thank you, Johnny Not Pal. That's what we're talking about. Come on, let's
and
raise.
Will as well.
Yeah. Yes, please, Will. Yes, you were talking about joystick ages ago. We'd love to see it.
To be fair, he, along with many others, have DM'd me and I've forgotten to reply.
Yeah, we're not very organised. We can only apologise.
I'm the worst person in the world to DM. I don't do it on purpose. I see things and I'm like, I'll reply to that in a moment. And then I do something. And then I come back and I'll say, I'll reply to that in a moment. And then I do something. And so on and so forth. The cycle continues. I don't do it on purpose.
If anyone's super organised who wants to be our assistant, please step up, because we're just rubbish. We are. We're just awful organisers. So yeah, put your hand up. Let us know if you want to help. We'd really appreciate any help. If anyone wants to research news stories, if anyone wants to just contribute anything to the streams, any links or anything, just please get in touch. But for now, we're going to say goodnight. We know that Nick is on. That is on Vile News. So if anyone is on D Live wants to go over there, go say hi to Nick. Daffyd, what does DM mean? Well, it used to be. Yeah, it used to be PM, personal message. What does DM stand for? Direct message.
Direct message.
Yeah, but yeah, we need to grow this community, because I think the contributions we make here are so important.
We need to make tea. That's what we need to do. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes. Anyway, so everyone have a very, very good evening. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30. Apologies, Nick, if you're still listening. Of course, you're not. You're streaming. Everyone get over to vile.news on D Live if you like to listen to good music. And we will see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Bye for now.